Hello. Um, who are you? I'm Baby Ghost or Ghost. Um, I came there after a lot of different identities and a lot of different names and becoming comfortable with myself, and I'm happy to be here. Um, what do you introduce yourself as, and who do you present as? Um, I really want to let people know who I am off of what they see, and that's something that I've grappled with for a long time, but I think I'm finally starting to step into a little bit more. It's been a long process of finding my identity in how I present myself, be it fashion-wise, gender-wise, makeup-wise even. So I'm glad that things have kind of started to creatively churn for me. What's something more about that ties into your journey for gender? I think being non-binary is such a huge part of who I am, and I didn't want to have to always explain that verbally, and explaining that through how I walk through life is not only easier for me as a person, like mentally, but is also dangerous in a way that keeps me true to who I am and reality checks me a lot of the time. I think that being able to step outside of a box is harder than a lot of us realize until we really start to implement that. And yeah, I don't know, it's just been kind of like a process with that also, and finding a solace in being non-binary and not fitting into boxes, and also in the unknown and where I might go in terms of my gender in the future, and knowing that nothing is really locked down, I guess, and that's okay. So yeah. I guess, what do you see in the future musically and personally, and how do those both tie into each other? Being a musician is as much of my identity as being a human being and just living and walking through life. Like, those things are intrinsically tied for me, and having goals that are musical are not only important to me, but like are essential to my survival. And I think that, just honing in on what it means for me to be a creative and what it means for me to be a writer is the healthiest thing I could do for myself, because that's my outlet. Like, I feel so blessed to be able to have some sort of outlet, and something that I can rely on outside of people and outside of resources that aren't free and aren't always accessible. Like, my music is always accessible, and I want that to reflect in what I do in the future. I think I want to ask a little bit about goals, also expanding on that, like, what is the future in your eyes? Because the future can be putting out music and can be creating new albums and new projects, but really the future is creating access to this music and access to spaces where people feel like they can go to get mental health resources, creative resources, access to art classes and cannabis and conscious use information, and just creating sort of like, in my mind, it's like a dispensary type of setting that eventually expands into other things that have these like art therapy classes and all these other things. But it can really be any creative commune or space that allows people to just come and exist and create or not create and be inspired to later. And I want that for myself. And I think a lot of what is resonant right now with me is creating spaces that work for us and that put us first. And my goals essentially are really to just do that in my music, but also in practice. So yeah. What is a project in the future that you're working on and that ties into those goals? I think the biggest project for me has been baby ballads and thinking about making these slow songs and sad songs and feeling like that's okay to do regardless of the mental state that I'm in. It's okay to make sad songs when I'm happy. It's okay to make heartbreak songs when I'm in love, because those are tangible human experiences that I've been through countless times, and that's okay to speak to. And people resonate with that because everyone's had pain and everyone's suffered, and a lot of people have grieved in ways that just are not fair. And to write about those things has always been important for me. What's something that ties into that art, again with grief, that you want to speak to? I've always said that grief and love are like twin sisters. Love and loss, really. It's like, that's what I always want to keep at the forefront of my music, is those two experiences in tandem with each other, because they can't exist without one another. Like, we don't grieve without loving, and we don't love without knowing grief. And that's like a heartbreaking thing to realize, but once I did, I think it influenced my writing in ways that I can never articulate, and will continue to do so, because I will continue to experience love and I will continue to experience grief, and they both make each other as beautiful as the other. So just remembering that those two things can't exist without one another, and we need to speak power to both of them, will definitely have an impact on my music and continues to. Yeah, any final words on that note? I think a lot of things, apparently, but I know that music has everything that it's supposed to have in store for me, and it's my safe place. It's my place of pushing boundaries and stepping out of that safe place and comfort zone. It's something that always keeps me, holds me in good integrity, and like keeps me honest with myself and with the people around me. And it's something that I know is always going to be there for me, and my only hope is that I can provide music that somebody feels the same way about, that like they know it's always going to be there for them and it's always going to resonate with them in some way. I don't walk with my songs, like I don't hold their hands in the world as they go and explain them to people. They mean individual stories to individuals, and I think that's like the biggest impact that I want to have with my music, is the interpretation of someone's own story and being able to apply it to something that I've written about what I'm going through and what I have been through. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where music takes me and what it has in store for me. And I am so grateful for her for everything. And I'm grateful to me as well, and to just existing in this world, because that's hard enough, and making music in it is something that I find great joy in. So I will be working on baby ballads, but I will be also working on things the world will never see, just for my own peace of mind. So yeah, I'm excited.